Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's head-to-head comparison, let's take a look at the 2025 Kia Carnival. This is the hybrid SX Prestige. MSRP is just over $54,000. We'll compare it to the 2025 Honda Odyssey Elite. MSRP is just over $52,000. So these are nearly identical in their MSRP. They have a lot of similarities, but they also have a lot of differences. We'll start off with one of the biggest difference underneath the hood, where the Honda Odyssey is powered by the 3.5-liter V6. That is the only engine option available. It's paired to a 10-speed automatic, pumps out 280 horsepower, 262 pound-feet of torque. That power sent to the front wheels. Now for the Kia, this hybrid is powered by a 1.6-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder. However, the 3.5-liter V6 is available on the lower trim levels. This model is paired to a 6-speed automatic, and it pumps out 242 horsepower, 271 pound-feet of torque. Again, all that power sent to the front wheels. Now, as we move on to the exterior styling, the 25 Kia Carnival has been updated slightly. You'll notice there's a forward-facing camera for this model, very large grille with this gray surround. There's also LEDs up front with a massive turn signal and DRL, quad beam design for the headlights and the high beams. This model is also equipped with the distance pacing. There's fog lights integrated down below, and then some nice lines that run down the hood. Now over on the Honda, a little bit more subtle. We have a much smaller grille. However, you'll notice that the distance sensor is integrated into the Honda badge itself. There's LEDs up front, of course, integrated fog lights on both sides, and then you'll notice some cutouts in the lower section and a little bit in the middle there, and some more subtle lines that come down the hood. Now, as we work our way to the side designs, you'll notice for the Honda, really nice wheel setup. This also has power folding side mirrors with that two-tone design. There's also the integrated turn signal. And then for the rest of the design, you'll notice the trim accent running right through the middle, and then the bodywork up top actually dips down, giving you a little bit of that glass in between. Now over on the Carnival, this has a gloss black set of wheels. There's also power folding mirrors as well with a two-tone design. However, these have the camera system along with the turn signal. And then the side profiles is a little bit straighter. There's also a really unique trim accent in between the windows there, and that trim accent wraps around all the way to the back. Now at the back, let's start off with the Honda Odyssey, where you have the spoiler, you have the brake light, wiper blade is in the lower section. There's also the backup camera, really cool design with the taillights there. There's all the sensors in the lower section, and you also have the hands-free option to lift up this lift gate. Or you can use the button underneath or the key fob, of course. And now we can take a look at the rear space. Now the Honda Odyssey is a 3-row, of course, so we have the 3rd row flat at the moment, where you have a lot of space into that 2nd row. There's also some storage bins on both sides with a power outlet. And then let's flip up one of these seats in the back. You can lock it into place, pull on this strap, and then you can quickly put those up. Look at the amount of space that you have down below. And then with one quick motion, just pull on this strap, and then you can fold these seats back down, and they'll be nice and flat. Now up top, there's only one button here, and that is to close that lift gate. Now as we work our way to the Carnival, we have the spoiler up top. However, there's a camera for the digital rear view mirror, and the wiper blade is up top, so it gives you this seamless look in the back. There's also a backup camera, all the parking sensors, and then I haven't found the hands-free option for this, but we have that same control underneath and the key fob too. Now with the Carnival, you pretty much get the same amount of space down below. So when you have the 3rd row up, you can put in a lot of items. Now this has a little bit different design to it, where you just fold the seat and lock it into place, where you still have a nice flat surface. You have almost a similar design here as far as storage goes, and then some auxiliaries over on the other side. And then just grab that handle, lock them up, and then you can easily fold that back. Now you get 2 buttons up top. You have one to close it, and then you have this automatic control with the off button there. Now as we work our way to the 2nd and 3rd row, starting off with the Carnival, you have a button that you can push, or you can just pull on the door handle, so 2 different ways from there. You can also use the key fob too. And once in the back, we do have another control that you can push in order to close and lock it, as well as the door handle itself. Now at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. There's also storage pockets behind both front seats. You have auxiliaries, cup holders, more storage. There's also USB-Cs. There's also an adjustment on this front seat here where you can both move it forwards and recline and incline. And then if you zoom in up here on the headliner, we have all of the adjustments for the fan speed, temperature, where you'd like the air to go. It's only on one side, so interesting if you're over on the driver's side, you'd have to reach. But we also have an opening sunroof for the second row. There's the sunshade too, which is manual. You have some vents up top, dome lights, even the camera system to view the third row from up front. Now these seats also move forwards and backwards. For all three of them, this middle seat is also removable. So you can flip it down where you have this storage bin along with cup holders and a little bit of space. And then if you pull on this tab on the back, you can actually lift this up and then remove it from here. So I'll just leave it here at the moment, but that's really neat to see. You can also slide the seat farther back. Now let's jump into the third row where you have a few different ways to do this. So we'll just grab this handle here and move that seat forwards. And at 5'10", I'd say I have a good bit of space. We have cup holders, we have some adjustable sunshades, we have USB-Cs, we have vents up top, and these seats recline too. And like I said, you can move these seats forward for a little bit more legroom. So I could theoretically sit in the back if I needed to. Now with the Carnival 2, with these back seats, you can fold them down to give you a nice flat surface, especially when you have the third row down or out of the way. But you can also go one step further. There's a lever underneath where you can actually completely remove the seats in the back. So you can remove all three of these to give you a large flat surface. If you're moving or you're putting in some larger items, this is going to be an added benefit to have. As we work our way to the Honda Odyssey now, when we open up this door, there's no visual button, but it still will unlock the vehicle just like over on the Kia. Now we have a huge difference with this second row seating because not only do these slide forwards and backwards, just like on the Kia, these actually slide side to side. So if you remove this middle seat, we can fold this down and you'll notice that there's some storage and cup holders just like over on the Kia. There's actually a strap up front that you can use to completely remove this seat. So very similar to the Kia. However, when you do that, then you can slide this seat all the way to the other captain's chair. So you can have both of these touching where you do have the armrests on both sides. I didn't show this in the Kia, you only have one armrest, but you could slide these over and that makes it much easier to enter and exit that third row. You can also go one step further and completely remove both of these chairs. So you have some tabs up underneath here that you can pull to remove that to give you a nice flat surface. So that is a very cool feature to see. Now, if you do have the seat installed, it slides forwards just like over on the Kia, where we have the third row. Now you have vents back here, you have cup holders, you have the adjustable sunshades just like over on that with some auxiliaries. You have some lights on both sides as well, but the biggest difference with this, there's no sunroof in the back that opens. You have that same camera system to view your third row, and you also have this DVD player or Bluetooth player where you can play some music. And you still have the controls over on this side for your temperature, fan speed, where you like the air to go. So a little bit different of a layout. So as far as the overall space goes, they seem about the same. You just have a little bit more functionality with the second row in the Honda, which I think is a huge plus to see. Now let's work our way to the fronts now. Over on the Honda, we have a really nice door panel. There's also memory seating adjustments. You'll see all the window controls, side mirrors, which are power folding. And then you have this dual stage here for storage. So in the middle and down below. Really nice setup for these seats with the armrests up front. And then as we move on to the steering wheel and all these controls, we have a full detailed review on both of these exact models. So I will go through this fairly quickly. If you want to see greater details, take a look at those separate review videos. We have some controls on the steering wheel. You have the heated steering wheel, your distance pacing, all of that. There's also the paddle shifters too. And then this is the gauge cluster setup where you have all that info. Now you do have additional controls to open and close the doors as well as the lift gate. You have parking sensors, your e-brake with your brake hold. There's no head-up display for this model. And then for the infotainment system, we have all of these widgets that you can scroll through as needed. We do have some physical buttons on both sides, even some shortcuts in the lower section so you can get through all of that information. You have all of your climate adjustments, fan speed, temperature dials are right in the middle there. So you have this small LCD screen to view all of this information. We have defrosters, even settings to adjust the rear climates. This does have heated and ventilated seats, and then we have your gear selectors. So just push that down for reverse, where you get the backup camera, you get a few different guidelines, and then we have neutral, drive, and sport mode, and then park up top. Now there's the engine start stop, a snow mode, and economy mode as well. And then you have several auxiliaries down below and a lot of storage. So you could place some smaller bags here if you needed to. And you have some hidden storage space as well that you can get out of the way. Now there's cup holders, wireless charging. You have additional storage with this removable bottom, so that way it is much deeper there. There's also some more auxiliaries located down below. And then you have the glove box with plenty of storage. You have garage door buttons up top, sunglass holder, along with the mirror here, so that way you can view into that third row, or you can pull that camera system up from up front here. So you can go into the cabin watch. You can actually talk to your third row passengers too, so it will go through the speaker system. And then you have dome lights as well as the sunroof adjustments right there. And then as far as visibility goes, it's pretty easy to see. You have a lot of glass, so you can see over both shoulders. And then from here, we can work our way to the Carnival, where when we open this up, the door panel has memory seating adjustments as well. You have your power folding side mirror controls, window controls, and a little bit different of a layout for the storage in the lower section. You have power folding seats, no armrests for these driver seats or seats up front. And again, full detailed review on this model, so you can take a look at that. We do have paddle shifters, however, these are for the regenerative braking. Being the hybrid, you can set that up. We have similar controls on the steering wheel. You do have some information that you can go through within the gauge cluster here. Not a ton of information, but you can view all of that. This model even has a tow mode. You have traction control, dimmer switches. You get a head-up display for this model. And then with the infotainment system, you have a few more widgets and icons to go through. You have that same passenger view. You can't talk through the speakers, but you can at least pull that up. And then you have a little bit different of a layout with all of the controls down below. So you can quickly go through all of this by using those, or you can change all of those controls to the climates. So now you have fan speed, temperature, where you'd like the air to go, or you can get back to power and volume now just by pushing on the upper section there, and you have tuning on one side. So it's a really neat layout. You get a bunch of auxiliaries and wireless charging. Storage is much different, so you just have a little bit here. You have cup holders. You have a different dial for the camera system, where this model has that 360. So you can quickly go through all of that. Park is right in the middle. You have e-brake, auto hold. You do get a few different driving modes for this model, however, so that way you can adjust your throttle response. You have heated and ventilated seats, heated steering wheel, just like in the Honda. Good bit of space in the armrest there, as well as in the glove box. And then up top, you have garage door buttons. However, you have that 360 camera system, which is nice. No sunglass holder up top. Here's your adjustments for the rear doors as well as the rear liftgate. And then you have the adjustments for both sunroofs. And then visibility is maybe a little bit different there. We had that other seat up at the moment. So it's going to be nearly identical, seeing over both shoulders. So we'll start off behind the wheel for the Honda Odyssey. Give it a little bit of gas as we get up to speed here. Power seems very nice from this NA V6. And as you will be able to tell, we have a much different seating position. I like that there's the armrest for the Odyssey here. I've been driving the Kia for a few days just to get familiar with that. This is my first time in the Honda Odyssey in quite some time. Looks like a really nice layout. And again, we have the full detailed review if you want to see more driving impressions. But as you would expect for a minivan, for a commuter vehicle, something you are hauling a lot of people in, it seems very nice and refined. For that $50,000 price range, give or take a little bit, you have different trim levels, of course, with both of these models, just depending on your budget. But this seems like a very nice, comfortable vehicle to drive. Now, one thing I did forget to mention, we don't have the 360 camera system, so in the digital gauge cluster of the Kia, you can actually see your mirrors with some blind spots. So it gives you that added visibility, which you don't get in this, but of course you can look around and easily see. But it seems like a really nice spot to be, and we have a lot of storage, a lot of space, and a lot of practicality for this type of vehicle. Now if we push on the S mode, we can go into the paddles. Not that you will be using these often, but plenty of power for this larger vehicle to get up to speed there. And they're not that quick, but again, not really something you probably are going to be using all that often. But we do have a few different driving modes there just to help with your throttle there. But a nice place to be. it seems like a great daily driver commuter and something that is going to be very reliable. So let's hop into the Kia Carnival now and see the differences. And behind the wheel now for the Kia Carnival, we'll give it an acceleration. Definitely a good bit of power from this hybrid and turbo. Now, like I mentioned earlier, you can get a 3.5 liter V6 in the Carnival. It is just going to be a lower trim level. So if you are interested in that version, you will just have a lower spec for this. But this is what it's like now to be behind the wheel. And again, full detailed review if you want to see more driving impressions. But honestly, aside from the power, which would be similar with the 3.5 liter V6, it rides fairly similar. This would be something, again, a great people hauler. We have some versatility, we have some different options, so just depending on what you're drawn to, this seems like a really good commuter. Now, I have been driving this for a few days just to get some seat time with it, and so far I haven't had any complaints. I haven't been in the Honda enough to know, but I mean, they both seem very comfortable, very quiet. They're great on the highway. And this is like what I mentioned earlier. We have that camera system so you can see your blind spots or you can see a curb or something on both sides. So that just gives you the added visibility with that 360 camera, which might be something that you are drawn to. But we have a large curved screen here, so just different layouts and overall a little bit different. Now with this armrest here, so we just have the center one, it's still pretty comfortable. However, with this model now, we do get a few different driving modes. And it looks like you can actually use the paddle shifters to switch gears when you are in sport mode. When you go back to eco mode, the paddles are now used for the regenerative braking. So they do have a multi-purpose design to them, which is neat to see. So back from our test drives now with the Kia Carnival and the Honda Odyssey. Basically, the biggest differences between both of these top trim levels, you have that robust 3.5 liter V6 if you want that dependability and reliability for a vehicle that you can own 10 plus years. We also have the adjustments to slide the seats side to side, which I think is a big plus. However, with the Kia, you are going to get a little bit more sporty feel. You're also going to get a longer range. This has roughly 580 miles on a full tank compared to probably closer to 300 for the Honda. You get the regen braking, you get the sport mode, which is nice. You also have the rear sunshade too, or the sunroof, and just a few differences for the interior. So comment down below, let me know, do you like the interior and the styling for the Kia Carnival or the interior and the styling for the Honda Odyssey? Let me know your thoughts, and if you enjoyed today's head-to-head comparison, give this video a huge thumbs up and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. We will see you all in the next video.